Sowen. David, no? Unless, of course, the speaker disappears.
Yeah, that's for 7 years. Not now, though. Otherwise, we're cheating. Can you sort of distribute that so we can all sort of look on? Just take some up here.
We don't got Great England.
What is Sowen? What is this Sowen or this season that or this time that we're celebrating at this time of year? Tonight I'm going to read a couple of poems. I'm going to begin with a poem and end with a poem, and in between I shall be knocking a few myths on the head, explaining the origins and some of the meanings, some religious perspectives, and how we got to think of it as it stands today. The veil is getting thin. As I went out walking this fall afternoon, I heard a whisper whispering. I heard a whisper whispering upon this fine fall day. As I went out walking this fall afternoon, I heard a laugh laughing. I heard a laugh laughing upon this fine fall day. I heard this whisper and I wondered. I heard this laugh and then I knew. The time is getting near, my friends. The time that I hold dear, my friends. The veil is getting thin, my friends. And strange things will pass through. What are these strange things? Some myths about Halloween. The first myth I want to knock on the head straight away. It is not American. For anybody that isn't aware, it doesn't come from America. In fact, it came from a long time before America was settled. Neither was it influenced by Rome. The Romans never ever conquered Ireland, and therefore Rome could not bring any of its culture to Ireland. Although Romans did live in the country, they were doing trade there rather nicely. A lot of festivals for the dead existed everywhere in Europe at the time, and it has something in common with those festivals, but not a great deal. And as I said before, it can't be American because Sowen was around from at least the 3rd century BC, and the Vikings were the first Europeans to ever land in the United States, or what is now America, and that wasn't until the 8th century AD. Well, what's the origin of this? Well, I can only vouch for the Irish in this because that's about all I can really. That's about all I was able to find. However, it does have a lot of things to it. It does have a lot of, or at least a whole treasure trove of information to explain this amazing time of year. It means the Celtic Winter's Eve. Now, if we have a look at our little pieces of paper here and read on, we have the months. I can only vouch for the Irish in this, and so we have the months of the year in Irish. We have Anor, Fiora, Marta, Ebron, Bealtaine, Mehav, Yule, Lunasa, Manfor, Jerafor, Sowen, and Nolig. Now, I underline Sowen for a point. If we have a look at the seasons of the year down below, and Tarach for spring, and Saurig for summer, and For for winter, and autumn, and Givrid for winter. And Saurig is interesting because Saurig is the Irish for summer. Now, how can this time of year in Europe be summer? Well, it's not. It's the night of summer. When we have any day, the night time comes around, it's dark, and it signifies that the day is well and truly over. It is now night. Sowen, on the other hand, or Sowen similarly, means that winter has arrived and summer is well and truly gone. What was it all about? Well, it signified the end of the harvest, and it meant much feasting. Harvest was around about in August, September and then October, when they would harvest their crops. It was a time for much feasting. Now after the feast, with the bones of the creatures, or of the animals that they killed for their feast, they throw the bones into a fire and they make what's called a bonfire. That's shortened for bone fire, or the fire of the bones of the burning beasts that they ate in their feasts. After the bonfire was lit, and after the bonfire had been going for a long time, winter's coming on, and every house in the land would end up putting their fires out, all their hearth fires, and then they go to the bonfire and they grab an ember, and the ember they'd use to light the fire in their own houses. This of course signifies the start of the long, cold, harsh days of winter, short days and long nights, and this is where the veil between the worlds, our world and the other world, became thin. Because this happened, they could contact their Gaelic or their Irish deities, their Celtic deities, their gods, so they can speak to them and tell the future, how the crops are going to go, whether people were going to have children or not, whether they were going to survive, who was going to die. And thus is the celebration of this season called Sowen. Incidentally, we shouldn't be celebrating this right now. We should be celebrating this in May, because it's actually the start of winter. We're looking at the start of summer. We should be celebrating Botany right now, which is of course the summer celebration. A religious perspective was that when the Catholic Church ended up going to Ireland, when they came to Ireland, they decided, well, instead of, if we can't beat them, we'll join them. So what we'll do is we'll get these Celtic deities and we'll call them saints, Saint Bridget, Saint and Saint Patrick and what have you. But through history, things have changed. At times, after the Christianisation of Ireland, the poor would go to different households to the wealthy, and they'd offer to say prayers for the dead of these people so they can escape purgatory and go to heaven, in return for getting soul cakes, little cakes made especially for the occasion. And from this we get trick-or-treating, where we go and we dress up in costume for the sake of scaring off evil and other things, and go around and trick-or-treat. And how did it get to America anyway? Well, it came on the ships from Irish immigrants, and because of the Irish influence in America,